And hello, everyone. I'm Dan Lutz, and I'm here with,
Tank?
and we're here on the front lines in the battle against the deep state, the cabal, the Lumadonkeys, and all those that wish to, do stupid things. Anyway, so I'm almost done talking about them, right? Because they've been so, defeated thus far. Actually, what you want to give a Kim update and see how far we've been advancing on the front line.
Yes. So I will have a more detailed update in the morning. Kim has given them to the morning, but what I can tell you is this: is that the owner of the Black Sun and the Rothschilds, what Kim said is that they have been backed into a corner, and I'm not sure exactly what this is because she gave me a bunch of things, but I'm kind of questioning it. But basically, what I gather is that the KIMS system has completely exposed the actual finances of the World Bank, the IMF, the United Nations, all these major organizations which generally provide the funding for the different governments. And so she did something with the debt where she gave them, basically she called in the debt, I think, is what if I understood correctly. She called in the debt to the actual governments and said that under the Treaty of Versailles, the Rothschilds took out a debt in your name for the country of whatever. They took out a loan in your name, the country whatever, to give you currency, basically, right? And now you owe this, you can pay it, or you could have the Rothschilds pay it. Basically is what happened, right? So basically, where everyone used to owe the Rothschilds, now the Rothschilds owe the individual countries.
Oh, that's why the Rothschilds must be selling off their chateaus and the Black Forest and the Delarue printing presses for the currency. They need to get up the money to pay, right?
Yes, but basically, what I gather is that this kind of just culminated to a peak just now, and she said they took all day to figure it out because they were trying to figure out how to go around it, right? And then they got on the call with her, and basically Kim was breaking it down to them. They're finally, it's like she said, she's gonna see what they do. They figured, finally caught on that they would be able to take down the entire deep state, and it wouldn't even be their fault, right? Because the debt's called. So basically, Kim took the burden on and called in the debt, took everything from the Rothschilds. I think the Rothschilds or the Black Sun or whatever, they've been collecting money from the countries, right? It's kind of like a tax, and I think that stopped. I think that's what Kim did. So so that should translate into us moving, because everything at this point I believe is really contingent upon allowing the people to be funded. Like we the people.
Yeah. Well, that's fantastic. Fantastic. That's excellent news. I'm. I also found I actually had a discovery of my own about that I think is also a pretty major piece of information. It was like something that probably everyone in our audience already has seen or heard of, right? But the dawning of what it actually meant was the recognition by the Democrats that the Republic is the ruling body, and the original Constitution is the ruling body. Right? So
yeah,
I'm gonna play a clip here. So I'll go ahead and let me get that set. Hang on right here. The cat decided he was gonna walk on the keyboard right then. I always think that's a good time to walk on things, right? It's like when I'm ready.
Right now, yeah.
Try to move it out of the way. All right. Let's the screen, but we'll get it here. There. All right. So this is from Professor Pamela S. Carlin on the impeachment hearings, right? when the Democrats brought forth these professors to basically, be their witnesses, which of course they have no facts to offer about what the supposed crimes were, right? So this is just their feelings, representations and things, and basically this trying to make strange arguments. So this is one of the arguments, right? So I'm going to go ahead and play it.
What comparisons, Professor Carlin, can we make between kings that the framers were afraid of and the president's conduct today?
So kings could do no wrong because the king's word was law. And contrary to what President Trump has said, Article 2 does not give him the power to do anything he wants. And I'll just give you one example that shows you the difference between him and a king, which is the Constitution says there can be no titles of nobility. So while the president can name his son Baron, he can't make him a baron.
Wow. So did you catch that? What does the Constitution say? Come on, let's say this again.
Him a baron.
Let's go back.
He can't make him a baron. Titles of nobility. It says there can be no titles of nobility, which is the Constitution says there can be no titles of nobility. So while the Constitution says there can be no titles of nobility.
Okay, so the Constitution says there can be no titles of nobility. What is the article that says that there can be no titles of nobility? And which
the original 13th Amendment?
The original 13th Amendment, not the one that was slapped on top on the alternative, United States Incorporated Constitution, but on the Republic Constitution. So,
yep.
So they just admitted that
that is the mic drop. If she didn't follow that up with a snarky comment about Barron, I mean, everyone got distracted by the comment. But you're right, because that statement is now in the court of record. So you could actually refer back to it and say, wait a minute, what were you referring to exactly?
Yeah, everyone was upset about what she said about Barron, right? Right. that was the issue. But the much bigger issue, not to say anything against Barron. Listen, my son's name is Barron, so I like the name. Obviously, I chose it for my son, and I wanted a strong name. Right, that's why I was thinking, well, what's a strong name? Well, kings are. I don't want to call him king. I want to call him Earl, because then he said wear a backwards baseball cap and break out a few teeth, and then you got an Earl. But Baron, I said, oh, that's a really strong name. I looked up who else was a Baron. Well, there was a Baron Hilton, right? As a name. I said, oh, okay, well, it's being used as a name. I'll name my son. But beyond that, it's like. The real issue there was that they're admitting to the Titles of Nobility Act being part of the Constitution. And that's their legal scholars, right? These are their experts, the Democrat experts that they brought forth. Amazing.
It's amazing. That drop in court, right? And it's their witness. I can't even imagine anyone's even really picked that up. That is huge deal.
I know. I mean, when I listened to it, I said, "Yeah, that's right." But it didn't dawn on me what that actually really represents is that their side, the Democrats, the cabal, they are saying that there is a Titles of Nobility Act that is part of the Constitution.
Right. And now you have to challenge. Well, that means every attorney who's sitting in the House or in the government anywhere cannot be employed.
Yeah, so all of them who are attorneys in that room must get up and walk out because they can't hold office. Boom!
Wow. Boom! He's right. Yeah, that's huge, man.
Oh,
that's a great catch, man. That's a great catch. I mean, really.
Yeah, we need to make some videos about this, right? And add in, okay, now who would be left in the Congress, after this Titles of Nobility Act was actually made everyone aware that, hey, you can't actually be an attorney and hold a seat in Congress.
Right.
Boom!
I love it. It's great.
Yeah.
That's a great find.
Well, let's get this one in action. Okay, who's out there ready with the memes? You know.
Seriously, that's a big deal. We'll put it out. I guarantee you we'll have memes rocking this tomorrow.
Yeah, this is good.
In no time.
This is good stuff, man. I mean, this is their exit out, right? It really is, because in the cabal turnover with Kim pushing forward on this, we're going to be moving aside this USA Incorporated, right? Restrict it to Washington D.C., which is what it's supposed to be doing, right? Managing the business of the city, right?
Right.
Right. So let's have it be what it's supposed to be, and have the Titles of Nobility Act be recognized across the nation, or everyone abides by it. Meaning that if you're an attorney, you can't run for office.
Right.
Across the country.
You have to give up the bar. That's.
I don't know. No, I don't think so. I don't think if you've ever been an attorney.
Right, because you're but you know what? But don't they like fight that the bar is real, like what we say it is?
Well, of course, the whole court system, the whole piracy court system, maritime law, admiralty law, collecting booty from the prey, you get your booty, so you gotta turn it over. You're an attorney, you turn over the wealth, that's coming to the king, right? That's their job.
Collect your booty from the prey. I did not know what that was called.
No, it is. Booty is the correct term. It's not talking about a booty call, but
because you don't turn that booty over, right? Yeah, I got you. Okay.
Okay, Sid, don't come on. We're not going to go off the deep rails.
No, it's okay. She'd laugh at that one.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. All right. Well, yeah. So from what I understand, in this same world, right? So now you're finally seeing these worlds collide, right? With what Kim has been doing behind the scenes, and seeing manifest now, where it's in harmony, right? They can't deny her anymore, because think about it. You got Nancy Pelosi; she's holding back the letters of impeachment after saying how urgent it was to get it all done. She holds it back. Why? The only logical reason: she's waiting on bribe money, which, as of right now, the United Nations, the IMF, the World Bank, it's not coming through, man. It's not. That makes me very happy, because they're cut off. They have nothing, and everybody can see their books that they're powerless. For the first time ever, everyone's able to see the same thing and realize they have, because Kim would have to sit down with these guys, and actually walk them through the system to show them how there's nothing there. And they would be like, "Oh, we're using this account." She'd go, "Okay, if there's any account that has money in it with that name on it, we can do it." And they track it back, and they go, "Oh my God!" But they get there, and there's nothing there, right? But you can't. I think to do that individually takes a lot of time, right? A lot of people.
Yeah.
So now, though, the KIMS system is so transparent, everybody can see. Oh, they don't have any money. No sense in asking the IMF for anything. They don't have anything, right?
Right.
So that's fascinating.
Well, even the World Bank, actually, it was designed not to be a bank. It's another one of those weird things that they do, right? It's like, well, it has no money. The World Bank only approved humanitarian projects where money would flow to.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So they weren't a bank. And the money would come from the Fed, approved, by, the IMF. So you basically, had this, the Fed, the World Bank, and the IMF all working in concert to each other, right? They all had a role to play, right?
Right. So now you have that, right? So what do you have to have happen? So they have to overcompensate in some ridiculous ways. So there's some attention an article brought out today that basically highlighted that you had the United Nations, and they were hiring on their career page, and they were called integration officers, I believe. And the integration officers, basically, their job was to disarm the people and put them in detainment camps, so concentration camps, and then reprogram them and reintegrate them into society
I'm gonna put
as
that.
citizens.
I'm gonna put that up on screen. Okay, there it is. I'll share it with you, but
Yeah, it's all good.
I showed it
So,
first.
so Kim said that was in response to, because they're cornered. They have no place to go. So the only thing they can do is try to keep the fear factor alive.
Right.
That's what they did.
Well, it's
You know,
interesting.
they tried
So it says here, job openings, right? United Nations careers, disarmament, demobilization, and reintegration officer, right? And the job code, right? Disarmament, demobilization, and registration officer. All right. Department of Peace Operations. That sound like police to me, right?
Yeah.
Duty station in New York. Posting period December 26th to February 8th, right? And then, of course, the opening number. So, and it talks about, what the responsibilities are, right? And going through this. But this is, obviously is meant to look for blue helmeted individuals that are going to be taking people to these internment camps, right? So they were, especially for example, if you don't give over your guns, well, you get re-educated, right? Oh, you don't want to get vaccinated. we have a Ebola outbreak, right? Oh, you need an Ebola vaccine. No, prove that it works. No, we're going to inject you with Ebola. We'll see if it works.
Yeah. So basically, and this goes in line exactly what you said. This is what they're queuing up in New York, right? They're trying to create fear and anxiety and make people make bad decisions and freak out or whatever, right? So that's their response.
Oh, check this out. Drafts reviews DDR inputs to SG report. Coded cables and talking points. Are we talking? I was thinking that was SGT report. Sorry, they were focused. I'm sorry.
Me too. I'm like, is that referring to the alternative media source?
Yeah, when I first saw that, I got this. What? Oh, sorry. It's this, I have not read through this entire thing. It's but anyways, it would be. I think I will probably get around to reading it just to see what they're up to. That's quite a lot here, though.
Yeah. So yeah, and then so that's going on, and
yes. Well, that's going on. So we have. They're still. See, operations are still in place, right? They don't know anything else to do but go with the plan that they were set up to do, right? They just roll forward. They take the next step and their next step because they think that they're going to be able to, bring it back around after the next election and Trump is out, or the impeachment is going to work, or one of their dastardly plans that they have in place is going to, be successful, and they will just pick up with where they're. So they're going to just move forward as though Hillary is in office.
Yep. You ever see that movie Avatar, like where they're on the the planet, all the blue, and at one point they say, we don't have anything to offer these people, right?
Right.
They don't want anything from us, right?
Right.
That's the wall they ran into with Kim. Because they're so used to being able to bribe someone, blackmail them, leverage them, torture them, right? And so they tried to kill her thousands of times. And as I've stated many times, a lot of guys have gone up there to kill Kim and left in body bags, right? Or she makes peace with them somehow, right? Or guys will make peace with them. So that's never worked. So they've never been able to torture her. They did poison her once when she was in Russia, and that took her some time to recover from. So she's very careful, like she doesn't really shake hands with people because that's all it takes. And I know when she was injured one time as well when she was on the run from different safe zones. But they've never been able to get her in like and kill her and eliminate her, right? And they can't offer her anything because she controls all the money. So it's like, what are you going to offer her? Like, they literally had the nerve to offer her like $5 billion one time. She's like, why would I take $5 billion when I control all the money? She's like, you can't do anything. Like, so it was, I mean, she just, no matter what they tried to get over on her with, you know, she's held out for everybody else. All of us benefit from him doing this, all of us, right? So, you know, they just, no matter what they do, and then the next part is like, they weren't part of any of the planning ever. They just followed orders. And they were used to orders coming down. You know, they'd get something like, you know, here's a message from the devil's wife, you know, and they knew who that was, right? That was like Marduk sending a message down to the chains. And he had everything operating all the time, everyone operating against each other. And it always worked out, right? And like all of a sudden, if there was a real issue, you know, they get Kevin Spacey, right? They just disappear. Yeah. And so they're used to that kind of stuff happening. And right now, they're so frustrated because that stuff's not happening, right? I mean, it's happening in other places, but like where it really counts, like what's changing the world, none of that stuff's going on. And they keep pushing forward like it's gonna. And they just keep making dumb statements, like as if we're gonna believe it. But all of a sudden, it's like everyone's looking at them, right? It's the emperor's new robe, right? Like, look, dude, there's no robe. Like, you're buck naked and you look stupid, right? Like, that's what is happening everywhere. So, but now, I mean, you know, the Rothschilds, the Federal Reserve, they said they were on board. They were working with us, right? It was like a month ago. Mm-hmm. And they did nothing. They did nothing because they couldn't get their way because they want control. And Kim, I love that she has not relented. She has not relinquished our stance for the people. She has been an ambassador for all of us.
You know, oh, sorry.
No,
I was just gonna say, you know, I think that I've been thinking about, you know, on sort of a marketing way of things. So when we talk about we're going up against the cabal, right? We're going up against the deep state. Yeah, there's a marketing quality to these names, right? If we say Illuminati, right, then you're labeled already a kook, right? Right? Yeah, so you're labeled, you know, all these things. So, and you know, I'm not, you know, we're faced with this aspect of the Democrat Party imploding. The Republican Party is going to be strengthened. But when you start getting into that, you know, this side or that side, you know, that splits us apart. So I was thinking, what could we work with, you know, as labels, right? To say, this is what side we're on and who we're up against. And you said the word, that's what triggered me. I said, we're up against the controllers, those that want to control.
Yep.
Right? And we're, and I would say, you know, and we're talking about American side, it would be the Americans against the controllers. The people, you can say the people, right? But it's too general, I think. It's okay to say general across for the controllers, I think, because it's such a pervasive, you know, entity that's been around the world that we can say that their only concern is power, right? But that doesn't really, I think, you know, those people are interested in power. Then it's about those people, those specific ones, right? But we're really talking about all of the controllers out there, all that really focus on that. So I thought controllers would be a good term to go up against. So again, against the cabal, the deep state, the controllers of the world. You know,
the only problem is like I feel like that leaves them in control. You know, that's my only issue with that. But you know,
I hear you.
They were, and on top of that, they really were in control.
Yeah,
they were just they were the slave masters, right? And even that is too generous. They were just the house slaves,
right?
They thought they were the master. They're garbage. I guess they. You know, my problem is I don't even want to give them any credit of any kind, anything that makes it seem like they are in power. What they were the beneficiaries of the evil deeds of people who actually had power and hated humanity. Yeah. but that's not catchy.
Right, I know. I'm trying to make what is that catchy term, right? So it's those people that are interested in controlling others is really the problem, as opposed to helping others. The people that want to be politicians to help people, those are great people to have there in place, right? Are usually the people that don't want to control other people. They actually are resistant to going into that position because they know that they're going to have to deal with things that are going to be, putting them into a position of control that they don't want to have over others. So, the people that want to be in control are the problem, right? They want to have a say over what other people think, over what people do, over what they have, what they don't have, how they breathe, how much carbon credits you have to buy, so we have
I think
to.
we should call them the Goblin Horde. Is what we should call them. The Goblin Horde. They hoard everything away.
But that's too
Goblin.
generous, because the goblins are not all that bad.
Right. I think that's a good point. That's a good point. Goblins are more selective. Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, I look at it like all this whole group that's this privileged group that thinks that there's something special about them because of blood, right? I mean, you look at this like Cuomo, right? Like he's here in New York, the governor of New York, Cuomo and his brother Andrew Cuomo. They speak with such disdain and such just contempt for the people and for the president. I mean, Cuomo said things like conservatives have no place here in New York, right? It's like, why? How could you say that? I mean, how could you make a statement like that? What is it that you're so mad at them about? Because you think you're protecting women's rights, and you know you're not, right? But you're just so used to lying and people believing it because they're afraid of you that you get these guys get very mad when you don't believe them because you're not afraid.
Yep.
That's how you take control, right? Like they're everywhere, and every time I see them talk, they're so transparent to me now, even though they're lying all the time. Like they don't openly offer anything. It's so obvious who they are. I mean, if you look at Matt Gaetz and Jim Jordan and this other guy, I can't remember his name, but they're powerful. They're speaking from a place of truth, right? They're advocating for the people. They believe in the Constitution. They are Americans. They're really patriots, and it means something good, right? It means something to them. And every time every time Nancy Pelosi mentions God, I throw up a little bit in my mouth. I'm like, please don't ever mention God, Nancy Pelosi, because it's like she speaks she's so smug.
Yeah.
The way she talks to the president. How could you hate him that much? All he's done is advocate for people.
Oh, don't ever say that she's hates anybody, because she'll tell you how she's Catholic and Catholics don't hate. It's like,
Right? Yeah, like the Pope, right? He doesn't hate.
Yeah.
So funny.
Yeah, it's like it's like everyone can tell that Nancy hates Trump, right? And so she's just lying, right? So blatantly when she says those things, and I don't even know how she was able to convince everyone. Well, I do know she blackmailed everyone. That's how they keep all the Democrats in line. They're all blackmailed. They also it seems also that the evidence is mounting up that that the Clinton Foundation was more than just about putting money in the pockets of the Clintons. They used it to literally put in the pockets of all of the Democrats in Congress. All of them got money so that they can they can maintain and say, listen, now you've taken the money. Now that's like bribery level 1. Right?
Right.
So we can get you to do things because now you've been bribed. Now you've committed, you did something that's against the law. And you can be blackmailed. by the way, if you want more power, do this really horrible thing, and we'll have more blackmail on you, and you can have more power. And you just start climbing the ladder of the most horrible things that you can imagine, so you can have more power. You know, the path. Path
all
of
of a sudden, you're hosting your own pedophile party. I mean, that's the kind of thing they do. That's what happens.
Yeah.
Recording other people, right? Training the next generation to go along with the plan of, this is what we do. It's really a tragedy, even for what we as men would think that it means to be a man, right? That you have these people that at some point, I mean, there's guys that have just been involved in horrible things, and at some point, somewhere in this lineage of people, I'm sure there's someone I looked up to, right, that I thought was a good person, right? And I can't think of many politicians that I thought that about, but I'm sure they're out there, or actors even, right? But they're not. They're part of this perverse, really disgusting, anti-human plan, and it's so transparent, and that is going to be, the next 10 years is going to be the unwinding of this. I was walking around today, and I could not believe it was overwhelming. Actually, it was like that first Men in Black, and Will Smith sees all the aliens, and afterwards, that's all he can see. He sees them everywhere.
Yeah.
I realized today for the first time. I mean, I made the full connection, I guess. How much damage has been done to the millennials by the vaccines?
Oh yeah.
Because they've had triple what any other generation of vaccines, right? Yeah. So I was at the cash register, and there was a kid there at the cash register, and his voice, I mean, he had almost a beard, like a 5 o'clock shadow, right? And his voice was just like that of a girl, right? And not just a girl, but a little girl. And everything he was doing, he basic things, he had to really concentrate and was very slow. And I could see him just blocking. I could see it when I was looking at him, just blocking it. And then I'm walking down the street, I see another kid, and he's just he was just moving with tics and freaking out and doing things, right? And I saw this all day, and I'm like, oh my God, this is everywhere.
Yeah.
What they did is they created a base functioning generation, or they tried to make them as low functioning as possible, so they would never aspire to do anything great or to change the norm.
Right.
They want them to work the register. They want them to be, to just maintain basic, careers and not careers, but just jobs. Just do your job, right? You just want them to be slaves.
Until they can be replaced by robots, and then they just become hamburger. Yeah. It's totally revolting. Their whole system that is all around us, right? But they've hid it in plain sight, because no one wants to believe that anyone could be so evil as to participate in this at this level. It's so all-encompassing, right? It's everywhere. It's because it was seated at the highest parts of the government. You can blame Operation Paperclip for bringing the Nazis into the government and say that was a major fold, but it existed before that, right? It just works its way into every nook and cranny, right? And it has to be removed from the whole world, and this is a horrific time for them, because they're going to fight it as much as possible. They're going to want to. So we're seeing these things come out. We see the battle happening. Sorry, but so January 1st. So what was the major things that happened on January 1st? We had two major things that happened on January 1st in the world, right? That one is getting all the news coverage, and the other one is not. So do you know what the one that everyone's talking about is on the news?
No.
It's the Iran, right? The Iranians, trying to basically make this action against the embassy, right? So this is a fomenting a war, right? So, but what is that covering up in the news cycle? Do you know?
Trump's awesome response to it.
Well, that's obviously part of the story, but it's not what it's covering up.
I don't know what's going on.
Pfizer report.
Of course.
It's out on January 1st. So what is everyone talking about?
Right,
not
right.
the Pfizer report, the most fantastic, piece of information coming down and against the deep state is put there, and nobody's talking about it because they're still doing this game play, right? They're still trying to take over the narrative. Now, Trump obviously knew. That's why they were ready to go, and they had their people put into place, and it's not going to be a Benghazi. And he's so nonchalant about the whole thing, right? he's all dressed in his tuxedo, looking fantastic with FLOTUS next to him, and it's like he diffused it, just from the way he was acting about it. Yeah, we've already taken care of it, right? And that's okay that it happened on the 1st, right? So the Durham putting out this Pfizer report, is not going to go away. But this front line this frontline battle is now not going to just like disappear. It's just that their side, their wave of energy that they use was diffused from the first day, and then after 3 days, boom, 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 to the 4th, here we are. We're going to now start talking about what's come out in the Pfizer report.
Well, you know what? I'll say this too. It really speaks to how diminished their resources are as well. Because this attack, right, in Iraq was pathetic, right? I mean, it basically was just it was kind of like fireworks in a sense, right? It was just a show, right? So in times past, I mean, Benghazi was, a pretty serious attack, right? But what they did here was like the president responded so swiftly, right? There's no force to go up against 100 Marines that just got dropped in Iraq, right? So you have this resistance, like they're much easier to put down at this point because they don't have the backing anymore. And it's just these little things. I pay attention to how pathetic their attacks are. Like when you were pointing out in New Zealand, like how the computer generated graphics were like the bullets were just disappearing, right? It's like it's just poorly done, right? Because they don't have the resources anymore. They can't do what they used to do. They can't pull off the same kind of false flags. And now, because the military or the key intelligence and military system is giving everyone the same intelligence, so everyone can see who's trying to do things. Everyone has the same information,
right?
And you didn't have that before.
Now everyone can see how they've stopped Tank from talking, right? Because it's in the key military and intelligent and military system. See how the blocking, comes up and blocks Tank from being able to speak. Yeah. He'll probably drop off the call and have to come back on. So, all right. Well, this is just more of where we can see their actions, to stop what's happening with Trump or what's happening with the new force coming forward. Tank is back, maybe. So what they have is this mission control center, right? The Cabal has a mission control center, and they have all these people out there. There's individual computers out there, and up on the big screens, right? They have front lines. They have the Speak Project, they have X-22 report, SGT report, and they're all monitoring what's going on. And they say, "Oh no, Tank is speaking over here. Look what he's talking about, right?" And they say, "Release the trolls." Right, go ahead and turn on the wave generator to stop stop it, push. So that they do everything they can to derail all of this information coming forward. You there, Tank?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm here. I hate when I like out like this. I was catching the last one. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. So anyway, this whole thing is it's really a fascinating time because you're watching and participating, on some level that in this new age of transparency, right? Like, imagine what's possible when everything isn't compartmentalized and hidden, And the answer is anything. Anything's possible. So that's pretty exciting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've covered quite a lot today. You got anything else we should cover?
No, man, that's it. That's all I got. I've been talking all day. So you have a great night, man. And let's look forward to. Hopefully, I'll have a great report in the morning, and hopefully, Kim follows that up with some kind of liquidity, and we can start moving projects. And I think once we start actually funding projects and people start moving, you'll see a very, very rapid disappearing act of the cabal. So
yeah,
let's hope.
They're already resigning in droves.
Not fast enough.
Yeah,
all right, you have a great night, Dan. Appreciate you. Talk to you later, everybody.
All right, everyone. Be sure to subscribe, share this link, get it out there. I'll make another note. I was just telling Tank, I'm running this software. It says what's going on in my YouTube channel and the number of people, and it's this perfect sine wave, right, of members joining and leaving, right? Perfect sine wave, right? You know what that software shows right now? Flat line. No one joining, no one leaving. That says that the software itself was interfered with, because on the YouTube side it says, hey, I've gained 54 members in the last 30 days or 28 days. It's a ridiculous number, right? So Tank was just telling me that he was, I think they're gaining like 400 people a day, right? I said, hey, well, have Kim help me out now. What's going on here? We should be gaining 1,000 people a day, 2,000 people a day, 10,000 people a day. Anyway, so go ahead and move this link out. Go ahead and make a copy, paste it into your Facebook. Go ahead and do the share feature. Bypass the shadow banning, getting it out to your people. And let's make a new world, a new abundance-based world. And I'll see you tomorrow.